Thanks for coming. Last week, I challenged Anita Lopez to a debate. Today, we know why she said no. Lopez needs questions submitted to her beforehand so that her political handlers can write a script for her to answer questions. No fair moderator in a debate is going to give candidates the questions ahead of time. I'm doing this press conference today, no script, no notes. I rolled up my sleeves to show there's no tricks here. And the reason why Lopez needs a script to answer questions from reporters is she doesn't want to answer difficult questions about the ethical problems in this race. Lopez has been using the auditor's office to run her campaign for mayor. And we've seen lots of examples of that. That is a problem. Toledo deserves better. We've seen these types of political cronyisms from people like Josh Mandel and Mike Bell. Toledo deserves a mayor that is not going to use the mayor's office for political purposes. I am committed to being open and transparent and accessible to Toledo voters as possible. That's why I've announced I'm going to have a mayor's night in monthly. And what a mayor's night in is anyone can sign up and meet me at OneGov after work and ask questions about whatever they want, and I won't be using a script. I think that having political insiders write a script so that you can dodge questions about unethical practices in a campaign is a real problem, and I think that Toledo deserves better.
Now, go into a little about, is there a specific example that you can give about Anita Lopez using these scripted answers?
Well, I think the Blade covered it very well yesterday, is that whenever reporters ask her for questions or to interview her, she has her staff call back and has this form of questions that include what is the most difficult question that's going to be asked and what is the response. And so you can take a look at the Blade's website and see the form that was used on recent questions. But using a script so you don't have to answer questions about ethical problems, I think is just bad. I mean, I think, we need an ethical mayor that is going to talk about the issues, and, we need a mayor who has ideas and whose message comes from the heart and the mind, not from a bunch of political insiders and political handlers that are scripting out responses. Toledo deserves better than that.
Certainly people in Toledo want a genuine response from a genuine candidate, but as far as preparedness goes, would you have to chalk some of it up to her wanting to be just prepared to answer things appropriately?
There's a difference between being prepared and asking for questions ahead of time and refusing to debate. I mean, Lopez has refused to debate me because she can't get the questions ahead of time, because she doesn't want to be put into a forum where these questions about her lack of ethics and running her mayor's race out of the auditor's office will be asked about. And that, has been an issue I've raised. I've signed an ethics pledge. I think Toledo deserves an ethical mayor that is not going to raise money from people that can be hired and fired in political office, is not going to let government workers do political stuff during business hours, and is not going to, abuse the trust that we're given in elected office. And the fact that Lopez needs political handlers to write a script for her to hide behind having to answer these tough questions about her lack of ethics is a real problem.
I'm sorry.
Why do you think that she's just ducking the questions about ethics? I mean, why do you think it's just the ethics questions that she's trying to duck?
Well, I think because those are what voters care about. I mean, I think that is the greatest weakness of her bid for mayor, is how she's run the auditor's office and these ethical problems surrounding using government resources to run for another office. Voters do not like that. Voters don't want to see you using your office to do political things, and we've seen it over and over and over again that auditor employees are staffing Anita Lopez at political events, they're running political events, and they're contributing, and that is a serious ethical lapse, and Toledo deserves better.
But do you have reason to believe that she started asking for the questions in advance after you raised the issues of her ethical behavior?
I think like I said, that we're going off the report from the Blade on Sunday,
Right.
and I think that is the number one reason why she wouldn't want to, just be asked anything at any time, is to be able to, be on this very weak ground of misusing taxpayer resources.
Do you think any politician who uses his taxpayer-funded staff to help him campaign or strategize is as unethical as she is?
I think that obviously there are things that you do that are policy related, and there are things that you do that are political, and maybe there's some gray area in between, but the announcement where she announces she's running for mayor has nothing to do with the auditor's office. So the fact that auditors' employees were running that event for her is clearly on the wrong side of the line in terms of ethics.
Okay. That's being the devil's advocate here, if you'll permit me.
Yeah.
That's your position and your opinion about ethics. Do you think it actually crosses a legal ethical line? Like, do you think there's a violation of a legal ethical standard that she's signed off on, or that's expected of her as an auditor?
All I know is what I've seen so far, and I think Toledo deserves a higher standard of ethics, and that means, like I said, everything in my ethics pledge: not raising money from people you can hire and fire, and not letting people work on your campaign during hours that they should be working for the taxpayer, and and I'm just being open and transparent. The other thing that was interesting that she said was that she runs the office with an iron fist. And, if you've created this culture of the iron fist where people, you're using iron fist techniques like, authority and intimidation, then that just makes the problem worse in terms of the staff doing political things.
I have a couple more, but I didn't want to.
I mean, you can go ahead.
Well, I want to ask you also this on the debate. You saw Auditor Lopez's response. I mean, this is not a partisan primary. This is a nonpartisan election. Why do you think there should be a debate just for the two Democrats?
Well, I'll tell you what. Hillary Clinton wasn't afraid to debate Barack Obama. Barack Obama wasn't afraid to debate Hillary Clinton. Dennis Kucinich wasn't afraid to debate Marcy Kaptur. Marcy Kaptur wasn't afraid to debate Dennis Kucinich. Having a Democratic debate makes the Democratic challenger coming out of that debate stronger. It crystallizes issues, it presents a forum to show differences, and the largest chunk, if you will, of voters in Toledo are identified with the Democratic Party. So having that forum just gives us both a chance to talk about our ideas, and apparently Lopez is so concerned about ethical questions being raised that she said no to the debate and requires herself to be scripted.
Tell us a little bit about these media sheets that her office is preparing. For your campaign, how do you like to prepare to get ready for reporters' questions?
Well, I certainly will practice what I'm going to say and think about what reporters are going to ask. And beyond that, though, I don't ask ahead of time when I call a press conference what people are going to ask. I feel that the important part of American democracy is that we have a robust media that checks politicians on what they say. And part of that is the give and take of the interview process. And Lopez wants to completely cut that part of democracy out by, number one, requiring reporters to submit questions first, and number two, scripting or having her political handlers write what she's going to say. What I say, what my thoughts are, this comes from me, and that's what we need in Toledo. We need a mayor that has ideas and that is speaking from the heart and not from a script written by political handlers.